Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching the interview. I'm super excited to have Robbie with me. Robbie, thanks for joining. And can you introduce yourself and the company in a few words just before we jump right into this?
Hi, I'm Robbie. I'm founder of Connetra. So Connetra is a no-code visual data catalog app, which is aimed towards B2B mid-enterprise companies. So enabling them to understand from a data perspective where all the data is. They usually use a lot of different tools. Data gets siloed. It's hard to have that layer on top, which allows you to understand data across the whole tool set. So that's what our data catalog tool does. The area we're working in, aiming towards mid and enterprise is difficult. It's not easy to drive meetings and engagements. You really have to work hard. You have to iterate a few times. You possibly could, but it's unlikely you hit on what works straight away. You have to really be aware to try different things. Some things work, some things don't. If it works, lean into that. Try and pivot a bit onto that. So having that sort of cycle of trying a bunch of different things to start with, many ideas. Some of them don't work, and that's fine. You pivot away. Some of them do work, and then you really lean into those. So having that process of a lot of idea creation, a lot of seeing what works and what doesn't, and then you start to find a cadence and a formula that is working, and you can kind of move forward from that. So that's what I've seen.
Thanks so much. And overall, thus far as well, what has been your experience working with, Theo and like the whole team every day?
So prior to this engagement, we have worked with one other agency, so that'll be my comparison point. I only have that one viewpoint, but I felt like moving with Remit has been more. There's been more visibility into what we're doing in terms of almost working with you to say, okay, we have this idea. What do you think? You obviously know the sector well, and then you can either say, yes, sounds good, or no, let's tweak this or that. So having that visibility and engagement has been good. The similar point I mentioned before around trying lots of different things and pivoting quickly has been good. Previously, with the other company we used, it was more sticking to what they felt would work, not sort of pivoting as much. So being open to change is also good. And feeling like you're part of the journey, you can obviously provide input as well and say, hey, look, let's focus on this area or that area, and that can kind of tweak the roadmap moving forward. So yeah, those are sort of two key differences I've seen versus our previous engagement.
Makes sense. And also, where do you think personally the team has brought the most value as you try to think about, what has changed, in terms of your day to day and, the things that you had to work on and worry about. And then like right now, after we've started working with you, where do you think we added the most value?
I'm fairly data focused. So for me, the numbers, digging into the data, the Google Sheets, the visualizations is key, but you could also customize that if you wanted to. Maybe you just want to be less numbers focused and more high level. There's that level of customization, which has felt like you can kind of tweak it and move as you go on to something that sort of works for you and your team. Yeah, I was just say it's good having that thought partner in terms of the sector pretty well, but sometimes someone coming in reasonably fresh can kind of bring different ideas to the table and things you hadn't thought about. So sometimes it's more just that brainstorming and bouncing ideas that enables you to find something that works. So having that sort of thought partnership was also useful and well.
And then one more question that I have from my side, on the scale from 1 to 10, how likely would you recommend to a friend or colleague or, maybe just someone, that might actually have a need in, marketing outbound campaigns, and they might be at the right stage to work with an agency like ours? Like, how, where would you rate us and why?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, it's always interesting to put a number to things. I'd have thought, I mean, for me, it's probably around 8.5, 9, I'd say. Um, all the reasons I've kind of previously listed, it's good, things are working well. Now we're sort of getting some traction in terms of we've had campaigns running for a while. We're starting to see some output coming through. So obviously you kind of always have to tweak and change things moving forward, but things have been really good. The interaction's been well. And yeah, as I say, you can really tweak the sort of cadence or what you dive into, whether you want to be numbers focused, whether you want to be more higher level. Yeah, and as you say, it is pretty much that kind of, it is this day-to-day grind, and like yeah, we're more like lower volume, higher impact in terms of like, yeah, like I guess it can be frustrating a lot of times, especially at the start when things need to get going. So like, yeah, I appreciate that it's not probably not the easiest in terms of things to be jumping on in terms of it kind of feels sometimes like maybe you're not getting the reward that you deserve from all the hard work, but it feels like we're starting to see some of that coming through now. You find a balance for what works for each company, and then you're not sort of rigidly, okay, well, we're always going to do this for every client. It's more client specific around, okay, they're happy to go into the numbers, or they just want to hear this or that. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, around that.